Welcome, tranquil minds and aspiring strategists, to a unique journey into the mathematical heart of poker. Tonight, as the world settles around you, we'll embark on a calm, extended exploration of the fundamental concepts that underpin every winning decision at the poker table. This isn't about high-octane thrills, but rather a deep, unhurried dive into understanding, designed to both inform and relax. Our focus tonight, as our very first comprehensive exploration together, will be on hand equity. It's the bedrock of profitable poker, a concept that, once understood, illuminates the path forward in every hand. We'll spend our time exploring what it is, how it's meticulously calculated, and crucially, how it becomes your unwavering compass in the complex and often captivating world of Texas Hold'em. But before we fully immerse ourselves in the depths of equity, let's ensure we're all comfortably grounded in the very basics. For those just beginning their poker journey, or for those who simply wish a gentle review, a calm recap of hand ranks and game flow will serve as our foundational prelude. Poker, specifically the most popular variant, Texas Hold'em, is a captivating game of skill, probability, and psychology, played with a standard 52-card deck. At its core, the game involves players receiving private cards, known as whole cards, and then combining them with publicly shared community cards to form the best possible 5-card poker hand. Let's gently walk through the general flow of a single hand. First, the blinds. Before any cards are dealt, two players to the left of the dealer button are required to place forced bets called the small blind and big blind. These bets create an initial pot for players to contend for. Second, hole cards. Each player receives two private cards face down. These are yours alone. Third, pre-flop betting. The first round of betting begins with the player to the left of the big blind. Players can choose to call, match the big blind, raise, increase the bet, or fold, give up their hand. Fourth, the flop. After the pre-flop betting concludes, 3 community cards are dealt face up in the center of the table. These are available for all players to use. Fifth, flop betting. Another round of betting ensues, starting with the first active player to the left of the dealer button. Sixth, the turn. A 4th community card is dealt face up. Seventh, turn betting. A 3rd betting round takes place. Eighth, the river. The 5th and final community card is dealt face up. Ninth, river betting. The last betting round occurs. And finally, showdown. If more than one player remains, they reveal their hands. The player with the best 5-card poker hand wins the pot. Understanding the hierarchy of poker hands is absolutely crucial. This ranking determines who wins at showdown, and it's where we start our journey into evaluating hand strength. From weakest to strongest, here's a comprehensive rundown. High card. When no other hand category is made, the player with the highest single card wins. If 2 players have the same highest card, the next highest card, kicker, breaks the tie. For example, ace, king, 8, 5, 2 with no pairs or flushes. 1 pair. 2 cards of the same numerical rank. For example, 2 queens. If multiple players have one pair, the highest pair wins. If pairs are equal, the highest kicker determines the winner. 2 pair. 2 different pairs within your 5-card hand. For example, kings and sevens. Again, the highest 2-pair combination wins, and kickers break ties if the 2 pairs are identical. 3 of a kind. 3 cards of the same rank, e.g., 3 fives. Sometimes called a set if formed with a pair in your hand and 1 community card, or trips if formed with 1 whole card and 2 community cards. Straight. 5 consecutive cards of different suits. For example, a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. An ace can be high, T, J, Q, K, A, or low, A, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flush. 5 cards of the same suit, not necessarily in sequence, e.g., 5 hearts. When 2 players have a flush, the one with the highest card in their flush wins. Full house consists of 3 cards of one rank and 2 cards of another rank. For example, 3 kings and 2 jacks. The higher 3 of a kind determines the winner in a full house versus full house situation. 4 of a kind. 4 cards of the same rank, e.g., 4 tens. This is a very rare and powerful hand. Royal flush, the absolute highest possible hand in poker. A 10, jack, queen, king, and ace, all of the same suit. It's an unbeatable hand. With those basics gently established, let's ease into our main, profound topic, hand equity. Don't let the term equity intimidate you. It's a wonderfully logical and beautifully simple concept at its heart, despite the complex calculations that can lie beneath. At its core, hand equity represents your hand's rightful share of the pot at any given moment. Think of it as the probability, expressed as a percentage, of your hand winning against your opponent's hand or range of hands, if the hand were to be played out to showdown many, many times. For instance, if your hand has 60% equity in a pot of 100 chips, it means, on average, if this exact situation played out 100 times, you would expect to win 60 chips from the pot. It's your fair mathematical share. Why is this percentage so profoundly important? Because poker isn't just about winning this specific hand on this one specific day. It's about consistently making decisions that are profitable over the long run. If you consistently put money into the pot when you have a better than average chance of winning it, that is, when you have positive equity, you will inevitably be a winning player. Equity is not just a number, it's your mathematical backbone, your guiding light in the strategic darkness. Calculating hand equity, especially against multiple opponents, can be a complex task to perform precisely in real time. This is why poker software and online tools are invaluable for exact calculations. However, what we're aiming for tonight is to understand the principles behind it. This conceptual understanding is what truly empowers your decision-making at the table. Hand equity calculations involve considering several crucial factors, each contributing to the evolving probability. First, your 2 whole cards. These are the 2 private cards you've been dealt, and they are the anchor of your hand. They are fixed. Second, the community cards. These are the public cards dealt on the board, the flop, 3 cards, the turn, 1 card, and the river, a final card. At any given stage of the hand, these cards are known to everyone. Third, your opponent's range. This is the most challenging and yet most powerful factor. We rarely, if ever, know an opponent's exact 2 whole cards. Instead, we must assign them a range, a set of hands they could reasonably hold given their actions, betting, raising, checking, calling, their position at the table, and their known playing tendencies. This range can be very wide, that is, any two cards, or very narrow, e.g., only big pairs or ace-king. The more accurately you can narrow this range, the more accurate your equity estimation will be. Fourth, the remaining cards in the deck. These are the cards yet to be dealt. Some of these cards, if they appear, will improve your hand. Some will improve your opponent's hand. These potential improvement cards are often called your outs. Let's gently walk through how this works with some practical scenarios, starting with our initial pre-flop estimations. Imagine you're holding the strongest possible starting hand in Texas Hold'em, pocket aces, ace of spades, ace of clubs. Before any community cards are dealt, before the flop, your equity against a single random opponent holding any two cards is overwhelmingly high, around 85%. This means you are a massive favorite. If you play this exact hand 100 times against a completely random hand, you'd statistically expect to win 85 of those times. That's a significant edge. Now, let's refine this a little. What if your opponent isn't playing any two cards, but is actually playing quite loosely? Based on their pre-flop actions, you suspect they might have something like king-queen suited, king of hearts, queen of hearts. In this specific head-to-head matchup, pocket aces against king-queen suited pre-flop, your equity is still incredibly strong, around 86%. Your aces are a dominant force in this situation. But what if your opponent is a very tight player, and after their aggressive actions, you suspect they might also be holding a premium hand, specifically pocket kings, king of diamonds, king of clubs? Now your equity, while still ahead, drops significantly. Against pocket kings, your pocket aces equity is around 82%. You're still favored, but the gap is much smaller than against a random hand or king-queen suited. This is because there are fewer outs to improve your opponent's hand, only 2 more kings for them, and fewer outs for you to improve, only 2 more aces, giving you quads. These are rare occurrences for either player. This leads us to perhaps the most classic pre-flop matchup in poker, one that perfectly illustrates the concept of dynamic equity shifts. Ace-king suited, ace of hearts, king of hearts, versus pocket queens, queen of spades, queen of diamonds. Pre-flop, before any community cards are shown, ace-king suited, AKS, has approximately 46.3% equity against pocket queens, QQ. This means pocket queens are actually a slight favorite here, holding around 53.7% equity. Take a moment to let that sink in. Even with ace-king, which many consider a powerhouse starting hand, you are technically a slight underdog to pocket queens pre-flop. This is precisely why understanding equity is so vital. It's not just about categorizing a hand as good or bad. It's about the precise probability of winning against a specific opponent's holding. This nuance can entirely change your strategic approach. Now, imagine the hand plays out, and the flop comes Jack of hearts, 10 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. Suddenly, the world at the poker table changes dramatically. Your ace-king suited now has a flush draw, any heart will complete your flush, and an open-ended straight draw, any queen will complete your straight. Your equity against pocket queens in this specific post-flop scenario has surged. It's now around 55% for ace-king. You've flipped the script. You are now the favorite in this very moment. This dramatic shift highlights the dynamic, ever-evolving nature of equity. Every community card dealt, every bet made, every fold observed, each influences these crucial percentages. It's a continuous recalculation that the best players perform, either intuitively or consciously. Understanding hand equity is the key that unlocks informed decision-making about betting, calling, or folding. It meticulously helps you assess the risk versus reward of any action you might take. If you have high equity, meaning you have a strong probability of winning, you might decide to bet aggressively. This serves two purposes. First, to extract maximum value from weaker hands that might still be willing to call. And second, to potentially make your opponents fold, thereby realizing your equity immediately without having to go to showdown. This second concept is known as fold equity, which is incredibly powerful and something we will explore in greater detail in a future dedicated session. For now, simply consider it the chance that your opponent will fold when you bet, giving you the pot outright. Conversely, if your equity is low, you might wisely choose to fold, minimizing your losses and preserving your valuable chips for a more favorable situation. Or, if the potential reward for winning the pot is very high relative to the cost of your call, a concept known as pot odds, which is our next major topic this evening, you might choose to call, hoping to hit one of your crucial outs, those specific cards that will dramatically improve your hand. Let's delve deeper into the concept of outs, as it's fundamental to estimating your equity, especially with drawing hands.
Imagine the flop is 5 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, king of spades. You hold ace of diamonds, jack of diamonds. You clearly have a flush draw. You need just one more diamond to complete your powerful flush. How many outs do you have in this scenario? Let's count them calmly. There are 13 diamonds in a standard 52-card deck. You see 2 diamonds in your hand, the ace of diamonds and jack of diamonds, and 2 diamonds on the board, the 5 of diamonds and 7 of diamonds. This means a total of 4 diamonds are already accounted for. So, the number of diamonds remaining in the deck that would give you a flush is 13 diamonds minus 4, which equals 9 specific diamonds. These 9 cards are your outs. Now, what is the probability of hitting one of those 9 precious outs on the very next card, the turn? Let's calculate. There are 52 total cards in a deck. You know your 2 hold cards and the 3 community cards on the flop, meaning 5 cards are currently known. This leaves 52 minus 5 equals 47 unknown cards remaining in the deck. So, the probability of hitting one of your 9 diamonds on the turn is 9 outs divided by 47 unknown cards, which is approximately 19.1%. If we consider the probability of hitting your flush by the time both the turn and the river are dealt, the chances increase significantly to about 35.0%. This 2-card probability is a crucial figure for evaluating drawing hands. This is why drawing hands can be so powerful, offering substantial equity, but only when the pot odds justify the call. Now let's explore another common drawing scenario, the straight draw. Imagine you hold 6 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, and the flop is 5 of hearts, 8 of clubs, 9 of spades. You now have an open-ended straight draw. Any 4 or any 10 will complete your straight. Let's count your outs here. There are 4 fours, 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds, 4 of clubs, 4 of spades. There are 4 tens, 10 of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 10 of clubs, 10 of spades. That gives you 4 plus 4 equals 8 specific outs that will complete your straight. Using our previous calculation method, the probability of hitting one of those 8 outs on the turn is 8 outs divided by 47 unknown cards, which is approximately 17.0%. And if we consider both the turn and the river, the probability of completing your open-ended straight draw increases to about 31.5%. Now, a slightly weaker straight draw, often called a gut shot straight draw. You hold ace of clubs, 4 of clubs, and the flop is 2 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 5 of spades. You have a gut shot straight draw. You need a specific 4 to complete your straight. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many outs here? Only the 4 fours, so 4 outs. The probability of hitting one of those 4 outs on the turn is 4 outs divided by 47 unknown cards, which is approximately 8.5%. And by the river, it's about 16.5%. Comparing these percentages, you can see why an open-ended straight draw is generally stronger than a gut shot straight draw. It has more outs and thus higher equity. The difference between pre-flop equity and post-flop equity is one of the most fundamental and critical distinctions in poker. Mastering this concept is key to adaptable play. Pre-flop equity is your hand's inherent strength before any community cards are revealed. It's based solely on your 2 private hole cards and your careful estimation of your opponent's range of hands. This is why strong starting hands like pocket aces, kings, queens, and ace-king suited have such high pre-flop equity. They are often ahead of much of your opponent's range, or they have excellent potential to become the best hand, even before the board even comes into play. Decisions here often involve raising to build the pot when you're strong, or wisely folding marginal hands that won't perform well against expected raises. Post-flop equity is a dynamic, continuously re-evaluated measure after each community card is dealt. The flop, turn, and river radically change the strategic landscape. A strong pre-flop hand might suddenly find its equity diminished, for example, pocket aces on a board with 3 suited cards where an opponent could have a flush. Conversely, a seemingly speculative pre-flop hand might gain significant equity. For example, your ace-king suited hitting a flush draw on the flop, as we discussed. Your strategy must be fluid, adapting and adjusting to these ongoing shifts in equity. The board texture fundamentally impacts how much equity your hand retains or gains.
Let's consider another example to truly solidify this dynamic interaction. Imagine you hold 8 of spades, 7 of spades. Your opponent holds ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. Pre-flop, your 8-7 suited is a clear and distant underdog against pocket aces. Your equity is perhaps 18% against that monster hand. Facing a raise, you would almost certainly fold, and rightly so, as calling here would be a long-term losing proposition. But let's say, through some rare circumstance, perhaps you were in the big blind and got to see a flop cheaply, you see a flop, jack of spades, 5 of spades, 2 of spades. Now, your 8-7 spades has hit a flush, and not just any flush, but a solid one, an 8-high flush. Your equity has skyrocketed to nearly 100% against pocket aces on this board, assuming, for simplicity, no other player holds a higher spade flush, which would be an incredibly rare occurrence, or a backdoor straight flush. You are now a huge favorite, almost guaranteed to win the pot. This dramatic example underscores how quickly and profoundly equity can change. It's a living, breathing number, constantly evolving with every card revealed. This adaptability, this constant reevaluation, is a hallmark of skilled poker play. A crucial and sophisticated aspect of accurate equity calculation is understanding and meticulously refining your opponent's range. As we mentioned earlier, in live poker, you rarely, if ever, know your opponent's exact two-hole cards. Instead, a skilled player continuously works to assign them a range, a probability distribution of the hands they could reasonably hold. This range is dynamic and is built upon a careful observation of multiple factors. First, their position at the table. Players in early positions, under the gun, tend to play much tighter, meaning they raise or call with only their absolute strongest hands. Players in late positions, cutoff, button, can play a much wider, more speculative variety of hands because they get to act last. Second, their pre-flop actions. If an opponent raised pre-flop, they likely have a stronger range of hands than if they simply called. If they re-raised, 3-bet, their range narrows even further to truly premium hands. If they just limped, called the big blind without raising, their range might be very weak and speculative. Third, their post-flop actions. A big bet on a dry flop might indicate a strong made hand. A check raise on a coordinated board might signal a draw or a monster. Every bet, check, call, or fold provides another clue to narrow down their potential holdings. Fourth, their general player tendencies or player profile. Is your opponent a tight player who only enters pots with premium hands? Or a loose player who sees a lot of flops with a wide array of speculative hands? Are they aggressive or passive? This overarching profile significantly impacts their most likely range. Fifth, their stack sizes. A player with a very small stack, for example, 10 big blinds, might go all in with a much wider range of hands simply trying to survive. A deep-stacked player has the luxury to play more speculatively or to bluff more often. By continuously using these clues to narrow down your opponent's possible range of hands, you can make dramatically more accurate equity estimations and, consequently, better, more profitable decisions throughout the hand. For example, if an opponent raises pre-flop from an early position and then bets big on a king-high dry flop, their range might be very strong, perhaps pocket pairs from jacks up, JJ+, ace-king, ace-queen. Your equity against that range would be vastly different than if that same opponent just called from late position with a wide range and then checked the flop. Your calculations must adapt to these nuances. The profound significance of hand equity extends far, far beyond just one specific hand. It fundamentally shapes your overall poker strategy and decision-making throughout an entire session, an entire tournament, and indeed your entire poker career. Players who consistently evaluate hand equity, even if only approximately in the heat of the moment, gain an incomparably deeper understanding of their true position in the game. This understanding empowers them to exploit advantageous situations. When your equity is high, you know you possess a significant statistical edge. This knowledge allows you to confidently bet for value, building the pot and extracting chips from weaker hands. This chip conservation is just as crucial as winning chips. Develop emotional discipline. Relying on mathematical equity helps you consciously detach from emotional impulses, the frustration of a bad beat, the thrill of a big pot. It fosters a more disciplined, rational, and calculated approach to the game. It trains you to trust the underlying math, even when short-term variance might not seem to favor you. This emotional resilience is a cornerstone of professional play. Remember, and let this truth calmly sink in. Poker is, at its heart, a game of probabilities played out over hundreds, thousands, if not millions of hands. You will not win every single hand where you possess higher equity, and you will not lose every single hand where you have lower equity. That, my friends, is simply variance, the natural short-term fluctuations that are an inherent part of the game. But over the long expanse of time, consistently making positive equity decisions is the singular defining characteristic of a truly winning and profitable player. Trust the process. Trust the math. So how do we gently and effectively incorporate this powerful concept of hand equity into our daily gameplay? It's a journey, not a sprint, and these steps can guide you. First, start simple. Focus on your outs with precision. When you have a drawing hand on the flop or turn, make it a calm habit to quickly estimate your outs. Are you chasing a flush? 9 outs. An open-ended straight? 8 outs. A gut shot straight? 4 outs. A pair plus a flush draw. For example, top pair and a flush draw can be 9 plus 3 equals 12 outs, counting both improvements. This is your most direct and tangible starting point for assessing immediate equity. Second, think in ranges, even broadly at first. Don't try to put your opponent on exact cards. That's often impossible and unnecessary. Instead, begin by thinking about the types of hands they might have based on their actions and position. Are they weak? Strong? On a draw themselves? What are the strongest hands they could have? What are the weakest they might be bluffing with? This makes equity estimation much more manageable and realistic. Third, recognize and categorize board textures. Boards come in many forms, and their texture profoundly impacts equity. Are you on a dry board? Disconnected cards, no obvious draws like King 7-2 Rainbow. On such boards, strong made hands, like top pair or overpairs, hold their equity firmly, as it's hard for opponents to improve. Or are you on a coordinated board? Lots of straight and flush possibilities like Jack 10-9 of hearts. On these boards, equity is much more volatile, as many hands have significant drawing potential. We'll delve deeper into board textures in a future, dedicated session, but even a basic awareness helps immediately. Fourth, practice off-table consistently. This is invaluable. Use online poker equity calculators, there are many free ones available, with hypothetical scenarios. Play around with different hole cards, different board textures, and different opponent ranges. Watch how the equity percentages shift. This dedicated practice builds your intuition, sharpens your eye for outs, and ultimately makes you quicker and more accurate at estimating equity during live play. This is where the real learning happens. And fifth, review your hands after every session. After you finish playing, whether for 30 minutes or 3 hours, pick a few key hands, especially those where you felt uncertain or where you won or lost a significant pot. Use an equity calculator to run these hands. See if your estimation of your equity and your opponent's likely range was close to the actual mathematical equity. This meticulous review process is one of the most powerful and often overlooked learning tools available to you. It's how you identify leaks in your strategy and continuously refine your decision-making. As our first, tranquil, and extended session gently draws to a close, I hope you feel a profound sense of connection to the fundamental truth of poker. It is, at its heart, a beautifully intricate game of mathematics and probability, veiled in human psychology. Hand equity, as we've explored tonight, is not merely a concept. It is your unwavering guiding star, a reliable measure of your true chances, and the indispensable foundation upon which all sound and profitable poker strategy is meticulously built. Tonight, we have consciously and calmly opened the door to this vast, complex, and utterly fascinating world. In future sessions, we will continue our unhurried exploration, gently delving into other crucial, interconnected concepts such as pot odds, expected value, implied odds, fold equity, and how these powerful ideas intertwine to create a comprehensive, adaptable, and ultimately profitable poker strategy. For now, allow the understanding of hand equity to gently settle and integrate into your mind. May it bring profound clarity to your future decisions at the table and a deep, abiding peace to your poker journey. Thank you for joining me on this calm, educational voyage. May your sleep be exceptionally restful, and may your future poker decisions be impeccably mathematical and profoundly sound. Good night.